I've shot at Miami Swim Week, but there are a few things that a lot of people just don't tell you. First off, Miami Swim Week is just a different beast. I want to jump right into it. Why? Because although there are other shows, there's official partners and there's independent shows. A lot of people go there for some of the right reasons, some of the wrong reasons. So when you go to Miami Swim Week, you're not just a videographer, you're not just a model, you're a brand. You're navigating fashion, you're navigating politics within the fashion industry. There's so much things that you got to deal with, nightlife, PR, so many different things. If you don't have the right mindset when you go to Miami Swim Week, you'll find a lot of things invaluable to you that can actually help you in the long run. The first thing I would talk about is the reality versus the highlight. Instagram shows you all the luxury side of Miami Swim Week. You get to see the hotels, you get to see the beaches, you get to see all the beautiful women. That's great. That's the first thing that attracts you to Miami Swim Week. And by all means, I don't blame you for it, because who doesn't want to sit on the beaches? Who doesn't want to sit in nice hotels, enjoying themselves, drinking a coconut, pina colada, whatever the case may be. The truth is about Miami Swim Week, it's very fast-paced, it's very competitive. And I say that not just from a videographer or a photographer standpoint, but from a model standpoint as well. And these are the things that you actually have to consider when you go down there. Like, yes, it's a networking opportunity, but you're also doing it for yourself. And you have to push the best version of yourself when you're there. Because you're not only, in your eyes, you're actually networked to millions of people across the world who actually look at Miami Swim Week. They look at those brands, they look at those models. They want to look at who's going to be the next model for next year, or even for another show, or even a videographer that they want to hire, or a photographer they probably want to work with. These are the things that you actually have to consider when you go out there. One of the things that really can be a burden, I don't really want to say a burden, but it happens, especially when you're dealing with shows, you deal with a lot of people. There's a tight schedule that is run. There's overlapping shows. Like I said, you have independent shows, you have official shows that are happening. Last minute changes, especially as a videographer or a photographer. And this has to deal with the content that you're trying to create or gather. And a lot of times you don't really get all the opportunities to create all the things. So you have to make the best of whatever situation that you're in, make the best of it. That's the behind the scenes reality part of Miami Swim Week. You have to make the best of it. All of this is presented in front of you. Networking opportunities, beautiful women, of course. It's really just about how you navigate through all this and create success out of it. One of the most important things that you deal with when you go to Miami Swim Week is access. Access is everything. Who you have contacts with, who you are on the list with, you have guest lists. All these different things change the way you access or produce content for Miami Swim Week. And it takes levels, it takes time before you get there. There's a lot of first-time photographers, first-time models, first-time videographers that get there. And you don't actually have the same access, but you still make the best of what you can. As your name grows as a photographer, a videographer, or a model, your status will also change. So that allows you to get access to different things because they understand what you're capable of doing. And that just plays for any fashion show, not just Miami Swim Week in general, because there's a lot of times you actually have to start from the ground up before you get to those higher levels. I remember my first time I saw all the videographers that were in the pit, and I said, wow, how does everyone get to this spot? And it takes practice, it takes work, not just snapping a picture and thinking that you do it. You actually have to show your creative side outside of this, so that one, the models get to know exactly who you are. Two, the shows get to know exactly who you are. Three, the brands, and that is the most important part. The brands get to know who you are, because you'll never get to work with these brands unless they can see what you can do. Most importantly, what you can do for them, how you can help them. And in turn, of course, it always helps you, especially in the long run. So that's what you have to think about, access. Access is everything. Work your way up from the ground, and over time, you'll get to the big leagues. One of the things that I personally not a fan of when it comes to fashion show is lighting. And I say that because lighting is one of those make it or break it type of things when you're doing fashion. If it's too dark, your footage comes out not really so enjoyable, especially when the models have on certain clothing and you want to get the entire outfit that they have on. You're dealing with LED lighting, lasers, depending on where you're at, especially if you're outside, you want to have a lot of light. So this is the thing that you actually have to work around when you're a photographer or a videographer. And a lot of fashion shows neglect that. And it's really just a matter of what the ambiance is and how they're trying to portray the image of the show. Miami is all about those neon lights and flashing lights and everything else like that. So you might not go someplace like Miami, or even if you go to New York, so to speak, at New York Fashion Week, even though they're about the bright lights, they're about the spotlight. That's really what it is. The spotlight is the designers, it's the fashion, it's the models. You go to Miami, it's about the ambiance, how it feels. The fashion and everything comes in after that, but it's all about how it feels, because if you go someplace and you don't feel good, you're not going to enjoy it. So those are the things you just have to consider about it. Lighting is something that you just have to work around. So in all your career of taking pictures, doing video, you've always had to deal with some sort of dark lighting. And I'm running around, there's plenty of times that I've run around with my GoPro or my phone and I'm just trying to capture some BTS or just capture some little clips, and you notice the dark lighting, it's like, I wish I had a light. So carry a light with you. That's one tip that I always say. Carry a light with you in your bag, and especially if you go in these scenarios where there's a lot of rooms where the light might not be on or might not be too much light. A little handy light comes in so clutch. One of the things that I found to be necessary when you're in MiamiSwimWeek, and it's really, you have to take into consideration speed versus perfection. And the reason why I say that is because you don't get a second chance to capture the video. You don't get a second chance to capture that specific moment where you're taking a photo. So sometimes, and I really don't like to do it, but you take because you're doing fashion, you have to use that high burst rate, capture about 5 or 6 frames all to get that shot. But of course, you're not going to use every single shot, because not every shot where the model is looking their best. But you want to make sure that you capture something that you feel would actually look good in a magazine, 2, on Instagram, 3, if let's just say the brand wants to post in some place where they say send out an email blast and they have, a little media press kit to show where your photos are. And then they actually use your photos. They'll reach out to you and say, hey, we would like to use your photos. Would you give us consent to use it? You can sign a little agreement towards that, because you don't want to just give out everything unless you're actually working with them.
I designed.
Oh, you?
Yeah, you want me to?
Oh, no, take it, relax.
No, it's fine. That's what I'm here for. What's your name?
MJ.
I'm Jasmine.
This is good. I like that. That's good. Runway
Super sexy. My brand is super sexy, so I have to just,
it feels good. I like the
do
texture.
what I do. This is skirt that goes with it.
This is good.
Can't be showing that much booty.
I mean, as if I say it's athletic. So.
Yeah, this is
But it's
the
still
top.
good.
The boxing logo at the top. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, maybe a statement.
This is good.
Yeah. Well, it's this. Just in case the model needs the top. This is boxing wraps. Made it to the top of the model.
I like that. Definitely capture that on the runway.
Yeah. And then
I have to
this is
send you
after
some
Rumble
reels.
Shuffle. You said what?
I said I have to send you some reels.
Yeah. And then that is hers, and
Oh,
that's
that's
Black's dress. Mine stops
So-
here.
Oh, okay. So this is not portable too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 4 designers. Her.
Okay. Let's see if we can- I'm definitely gonna see you guys on the runway.
Oh yes.
She's doing it up right here. Always. I like that.
Yes. I hope to see you.
Definitely.
Don't forget, I'll be a cheetah.
I got you. So speed versus perfection, that's something that you really just have to consider. I personally don't think that you'll ever be perfect when you're doing fashion shows, because everything happens at once. You just have to you have to have an eye for it. So over time, you'll just get that. Whether it's video, you might not capture focus sometimes. You're not going to get that walk back. You know, you might actually capture on the way going around, but it's not going to be the same walk. So sometimes the autofocus does fail. Sometimes you might not be in range. You might have to rack focus, or you might have to rack your focal range. These are things that can actually slip up when you're recording. So like I said, there's no such thing as perfection, but you do have to be quick in how you handle these changes, especially if you're on that platform and you're shooting for a brand, or you're shooting for, or the actual Miami Swim Week, or you're shooting for something else. These models look towards it. Like, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing the models as well. So if they choose you to say, hey, I like the work that you're doing, you know, would you happen to have some content with me? I'd like to collaborate with you. They actually like the work that you're doing. So you actually have to produce some good things. So take that into consideration when you're out there. A lot of people don't talk about that. You just see the end result, see a nice flashy picture. It looks good, but you don't know exactly what it took to get there. You've been at Miami Swim Week, or I should say at this point, I've been at Miami Swim Week for a while. You know, I think it was about 2 or 3 days that they had going. And what I've really noticed, and like I said before, networking is currency. So who you know, who you get to know out there can change the way you shoot. It can change what you'll shoot later on in life, because you could probably get at least 2 or 3 gigs out of shooting for Miami Swim Week. And you know, that's just a matter of how you network, who you know out there, who you get to know out there. You'll see a lot of interviews. I remember, what's his name? Chris was doing interviews for Miami Swim Week. There's a lot of different models that you'll meet. You'll bump into models from all over the world, whether it be from New York Fashion Week, whether it be from London Fashion Week, you know, Africa Fashion Week. You'll meet people all over the world. And these are the things that get you into the doors that you would like to do, if this is what you really want to do. Like, if it's just a hobby, all right, it might not mean that much to you. But if this is what you want to do, like you want to shoot editorial work, you want to shoot fashion, you want to create commercials, you actually have to network, because your network is your network. This is exactly how you go forward in the fashion industry. And that's something a lot of people don't tell you. Like, you could just come in with the camera and take a picture. It will get you nowhere. You actually have to open your mouth, network with people, show them what you're capable of doing, show them that this is the direction that you'd like to go, and you might just get some doors open for you. So take that into consideration. Just about every fashion show that I've attended, we always talk about content opportunities outside of the runway, right? Now, this means that you put down the camera for the production side, and you're actually picking up the camera to create content with these models, or either with these brands, because you want to actually get your name out there, right? And no one loves it more than a videographer or a photographer to create content with somebody that they can actually see as a lasting, representable. That's the key word, representable work, all right? So if you can actually network with some models to create some fashion campaigns, or do a little beach shoot on the side on a day off, because like I said, Miami Swim Week this time was around 3 days. So maybe on the 4th day, you can go out to the beach, take some shots out there, do some videos, do some sort of bathing suit, you know, content, so that it can showcase your work for a possible brand, so they can actually say, hey, who was the videographer behind that? I might want to work with them, or I might need a videographer, and they can toss your name in there. That's where you actually have to keep your name going when you create content out there. Find opportunities at every corner, even the little brands, because there's always brand activations that are happening, especially at fashion shows like Miami Swim Week. So many brands come out there, they have their products, they'll sit down, they'll talk to you about it, find something that you're interested in. You know, talk to the representatives, talk to them about what you can possibly do, take some pictures for them. You never know what can happen from that. So make sure you take every opportunity as serious as you would as you picking up your camera. If you haven't been to Miami Swim Week, I'll just put some clips of some of the models, some of the brands that are up there, so you can actually get a taste of what it was last year. And hopefully you'll be interested in coming out next year or in the future years to come. But just so you know, Miami Swim Week is definitely a place where you need to be. It's that time of the year. It's around May right now. You need to be at Miami Swim Week. Take a look at some of the clips, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget, stay creative. Drop a comment if you're going to come to Miami Swim Week. I want to know. Peace.